So in this video, let's see about the Union and its territory of India. So the Articles 1 to 4 under Part 1 of the Constitution deals with the Union and its territory. So let's see what are the various articles under this part. The Article 1, it actually deals with the name and the territory of the Union. And Article 2 deals with the establishment or the admission of the new states. And then the Article 3 talks about the formation of the new states and also the alteration of the areas or the boundaries or the names of the existing states. And Article 4 is actually a law made under Article 2 and 3 to provide for the amendment of the first schedule. The first schedule actually contains the list of the states and the union territories, and also the amendment of the fourth schedule. The fourth schedule contains the allocation of the seats in the Council of State, that is the Rajya Sabha, and also some supplemental incidental and consequential matters are present in the Article 4. So these are the four articles that are present in the part 1 of our constitution. Let's see each of these articles in detail. So Article 1. Article 1 says that India, that is Bharat, shall be a union of states. The states and the territories thereof shall be as specified in the first schedule, and also the territory of India shall comprise the territory of the states, the union territory specified in the first schedule, such other states as may be acquired. So the interpretation is Indian Federation is a union because it was indissoluble and also no state has the right to secede or separate from the union. So that's why we prefer the word union instead of federation of state, because in the federation of the states we need the agreement of the state to to dissolve or to merge into the Indian Union or Union or Central Union. But and also uh, we need to give the state the right to secede from the Union. But in the case of Union, it is not like that. So only in the federation these provisions are available to the state, and that's why we prefer the word union. And also the Union of India includes the states which are members of the federal system, and it also shares the distribution of powers with the Union. And one important word to note here is the Union of India includes only the states. It does not include the Union territories. Whereas the territory of India includes the states as well as the Union territories as well as any such territories which may be acquired by the India in the future. So this is the interpretation of the Article 1. Article 2 talks about Parliament may by law admit into the Union or establish new states on such terms and conditions as it thinks fit. So Parliament has the power to admission or establishment of new states that were not part of India. So Parliament has the power to either admit or to establish new states. The keyword is like which are not actually the part of India. That's the crux of the Article 2. So in that way, the French settlements of Pondicherry, Karaikal, Mahi, and Yanam, the Portuguese settlements of Goa, Daman, and Sikkim were actually included into India, which were not initially a part of India, which later became the part of India. That's the crux of Article 2. And the Article 3 says Parliament by law form a new state by separation of territory from any state or by uniting two or more states or parts of states or by uniting any territory to a part of any state. And also, Parliament may by law increase the area of any state, they can diminish the area of any state, they can alter the boundaries of any state, they can alter the name of any state. So, what are the procedures that are involved actually to do these things? So, the Constitution empowers the Parliament to form a new state. Okay, but a bill has to be introduced into the either house of the Parliament only on the recommendation of the President. And then if the bill deals with the changes in the boundary of the state or area of the state or the name of the state, then the president will refer the bill to the concerned state legislature for its opinion. If the state legislature has to express its views within the fixed time frame, if it fails to do so, or if it is delayed, then the president may assume it has accepted. However, the parliament is not bound to act upon the views of the state legislature. So it is up to them. And also, It is not necessary for the parliament to refer every time any amendments or changes are made to the bill. And also the parliament will pass the bill with the simple majority. And for union territories, the views of the legislatures of the union territory is not required. So that's how when the union territories like Arunachal Pradesh, Goa, Daman and Diu, okay, were introduced in the parliament, these bills didn't look for or seek the views of the legislatures of the union territories. So they were just passed in the parliament without obtaining such views. But whereas in the case of federations like the United States of America or Australia, the boundaries of the areas of the states cannot be altered without the consent of the states by the federation. And that's why we call Union of India, not Federation of India. Now let's see the Article 4. The Article 4 says any law referred to in Article 2 or Article 3 shall contain provisions for the amendment of the first schedule and the fourth schedule, as may be necessary to give effect to the provisions of a law, and may also contain such supplemental, incidental, and consequential provisions as Parliament may deem necessary. No such law as foresaid shall be deemed to be an amendment of this Constitution for the purpose of this Article 8. It simply says that Article 4 allows for the consequential changes in the Schedule 4 and Schedule 1, and also the law will not be considered, such law which actually makes changes in the Schedule 4 and Schedule 1 will not be considered as a constitutional amendment. This is a very important, okay, point to be noted. And only simple majority, as mentioned in the previous articles, is required. And that's the crux of Article 4. So we saw the various articles in the Union Territory: Article 1, Article 2, Article 3, and Article 4. Now let's see about the evolution of the states and the Union Territories in India. After independence, okay, the demand for the state reorganization was pressed in many different parts of India. It was a concern in many different parts of India. So the Constituent Assembly appointed a commission to look into this issue. So the first commission to look into this issue was Dar Commission. So June 1948, the Constituent Assembly announced the Linguistic Provinces Commission, which is otherwise called as the Dar Commission. June 1948 it started, and S.K. Dar was the chairman. The committee recommended that the state reorganization should not be based on the should be based on administrative convenience, but it should not be based on the linguistic provisions. So there was a serious discontent among the Indians because of the recommendation of the Dar Commission. So the Constituent Assembly once again appointed another committee called JVP Committee. So the Linguistic Provinces Committee was again appointed by Congress. This time it consisted of three members: Jawaharlal Nehru, Vallabhbhai Patel, and then Pattabi Sitaramaya. So their initial names, words in the names, that is J alphabets J, V, and P. That's why it is called as JVP Committee letters. So this committee again reaffirmed the decision of the Dar Commission, quoting that states cannot be reorganized on the basis of languages. So state can be reorganized only on the basis of administrative convenience. This was the decision of JVP committee also. So 26th January 1950, our constitution was enacted, and we celebrated the Republic of India. So India became a new republic. So during that time, the units of the India, that's the constituent units of India, Indian Union, were classified into four parts: Part A, Part B, Part C, and Part D. So it is just a temporary arrangement. And Part A was mostly governor provinces. It included Assam, Bihar, Bombay, Madhya Pradesh, Madras, Odisha, Punjab, Uttar Pradesh, and West Bengal. Part B It contained mostly princely states and like Hyderabad, Jammu Kashmir, Madhya Bharat, Patiala, East Punjab states, Patiala and East Punjab States Union, we say PIPSU, Rajasthan, Saurashtra, Travancore, Cochin, and Vindhya Pradesh. And then the part C was actually the Chief Commissioner provinces and it included some princely states. So this included Ajmer, Bhopal, Bilaspur, Cooch Behar, Coorg, Delhi, Himachal Pradesh, Kutch, Manipur, and Tripura. And the part D was Andaman and Nicobar Islands. This was the arrangement, that is a temporary arrangement of states as of 26 January 1950. Then there was a continuation of demand for the linguistic states. Okay, this issue was still persisting in India even after the division into Part A, Part B, Part C, and Part D. So on October 1953, Government of India was forced to create the first state based on the linguistic reasons, and that was Andhra. It was carved out of Madras Presidency, Madras State, Madras part, where the Telugu-speaking people were separated from the Madras. The state creation happened after the death of Potti Sri Ramalu. He died after a 56th day hunger strike. So that happened in October 1953. So then Faisal Ali Commission was appointed by the government. So in December 1953, three-member state reorganization commission, SRC we say. The three members are Faisal Ali Commission and then H.N. Kunzru and K.M. Panikar. So these three persons actually recommended the abolition of fourfold classification of states, that is Part A, Part B, Part C, and Part D. But they recommended the creation of 16 states and union territories, centrally administered union territories. And also they suggested four major principles for the state reorganization. They are, whenever we are doing any state reorganization, it should preserve and strengthen the unity and the security of the country. And also financially and economically and administratively, there must be some viability in it. And also this is considered as one of the factor only. Linguistic and cultural homogeneity were also included. But okay, this committee's recommendation was actually a balanced okay, recommendation because it contained the views of the public, that is the linguistic okay and cultural homogeneity which was demanded by the public, which was a populist view. At the same time, okay, national interests were also taken into consideration like financial viability, administrative viability, and then security and unity of the country, and also scope for the working of plans of development, which we will be suggesting, or maybe which will be suggested by the planning commission. So all these four factors has to be considered whenever a new state is being reorganized or whenever a state is being reorganized. So the State Reorganization Act, okay, it was passed in 1956. It came into force on November 1956 to be precise. By this act and also by the 7th Constitutional Amendment of 1956, the distinction between the Part A and the Part B states were done away with, and the Part C states were completely abolished. The concept of Part C states were abolished, and there were actually 14 states and 6 union territories that were created. The states were Andhra Pradesh, Assam, Bihar, Jammu Kashmir, Kerala, Madhya Pradesh, Madras, Mysore, Orissa, Punjab, Rajasthan, Uttar Pradesh, and West Bengal. The union territories were Andaman and Nicobar Islands number 1, Delhi number 2, Himachal Pradesh number 3, and Lakadiv, Minikaw Islands and Amandivi Islands as number 4, and Pondicherry number 5, Manipur number 6, and Tripura number 7. So after this, okay, many state actually reorganized their territory, and the new states that were emerging after 1956 are as follows. In 1963, Bombay state split into Maharashtra and Gujarat, and in 1963, Nagaland was carved out of Assam, and 1966, Himachal Pradesh and Haryana was carved out of Punjab state, and in 1972, Meghalaya, Manipur, and Tripura were formed. In 1975, Sikkim became part of the Indian Union, okay, as per the Article 2. And in 1986, Arunachal Pradesh and Mizoram became the states. 1986, and in 1987, Goa became the part of the Goa became the new state, and then in 2000, Chhattisgarh out of Madhya Pradesh. Chronologically, first Chhattisgarh was carved out of Madhya Pradesh, and then Uttaranchal was carved out of UP. Later, Uttaranchal was renamed to Uttarakhand, and Jharkhand was carved out of Bihar. And in 2014, Telangana was carved out of Andhra Pradesh. So these are the states that were formed after the 1956. Not only the states, we had even union territories also after 1956. Dadra and Nagar Haveli formed by the 10th Constitutional Amendment Act of 1961, and Daman and Diu by the 12th Constitutional Amendment Act of 1962, and by the 14th Constitutional Amendment Act, Pondicherry was the new union territory. 1962 it happened, but later it was renamed to Puducherry in 2006, and Chandigarh by the Punjab Reorganization Act of 1966, and then Lakshadweep altered the name of the Lakshadweep, Minicoy, and Amandevi Islands in the year 1973. So these were the major developments that were happening when we see the timeline of the evolution of the states and union territories in India. That's it.